Well, we want to remind you again of the 10 victims of Saturday's massacre at Tops. Our goal is to make sure that they are the names we remember. And because as much as we don't want to focus on the accused shooter, it's something that we have to do today with a big legal development as the families of these victims got to face him in court for the first time. 2 on Your Side's Ron Plants was there as they did.
With a squad of court security officers surrounding him, the 18-year-old suspect, shackled and wearing an orange prison suit, went before City Court Judge Craig Hannaha once again, but this time with family members of the victims present. The media asked not to directly show their images, and they were ushered out before the media could approach. But one person made sure her point was clear before the judge told her to be quiet.
Hey, you're a coward.
During the proceeding, actually a felony hearing to show evidence to hold the suspect, it was then adjourned as the prosecutor announced that a grand jury had already voted on an indictment which has not yet been released. It's expected in the coming days with additional charges for all 10 murder victims and other counts, including weapons charges. Not a surprise to legal experts who say the prosecution may not want to show its full hand just yet. Even with all the evidence, there's a potential defense strategy.
He did live stream the events. He did confess prior to the events through the manifesto that he was going to commit these offenses. So this case really on the state side comes down to mental health. Is there going to be an attempt to use some type of a mental health defense, the most common being that he was not guilty by reason of insanity?
And while this is still state court, federal prosecutors are thought to be working concurrently with a federal trial a long ways off. For example, the James Kopp case some 20 years ago.
Remember the situation involving Mr. Kopp, in the murder of Dr. Slepian. You had a state proceeding that went at a certain time period, and years later, there was the federal proceeding that occurred in federal court in Buffalo. So that's an example of where sometimes one proceeding moves a little quicker than the other. And it's based upon various procedural issues and scheduling issues and so forth. So it could take a while.
Now, that was former U.S. Attorney for Western New York, Terrence Flynn. For the early stages of this case, expect many delays with the prosecutors and the now 3 court-appointed defense attorneys arguing points of evidence back and forth. Even as many people may feel this seems like a simple case to prove for swift justice, a full investigation obviously is underway, and experts predict it may take years until state and federal juries can actually render a verdict. The suspect may be back in court June 9th, and the actual indictment, as you heard, may be released soon. Here in the Information Center, Ron Plants, Channel 2 News.